Hello. So today I am talking with Lisa Hodgson from My Curated Life. Hi, Lisa. So Lisa, I wanted to do a bit of a Q&A with you because we obviously met through LinkedIn, and I was just fascinated by your story. I know you are a woman who's worked in corporate and you are now a professional organizer. And I thought it would be so wonderful for you just to share some of your amazing wisdom and knowledge to the ladies in the group. But Lisa, perhaps first just tell us a little bit about, you know, your journey from being in the corporate world and to where you are now as running your own business as a professional organizer.
Yeah, absolutely. So up until about 12 months ago, I was a finance director working for a large global insurance business, and I'd been on a journey for about probably 12 months of just
organizer.
Yeah, absolutely. So up until about 12 months ago, I was a finance director working for a large global insurance business, and I'd been on a journey for about probably 12 months of just feeling a bit niggly about where I was going, what I was doing, and I really, had this aspiration to start my own business. And I wasn't 100% sure what I was going to do, but I spent a period in between jobs, decluttering my life and my home, and I'd seen such amazing benefits from this that it started to get me thinking about the organising business. And I also just had this desire to start something that would be really helping women like me. So for many, many years, I've juggled sort of corporate career along with a young family. I have 2 kids. And, I just sort of see the struggle that women were having of juggling all those balls. And I knew for me that having an organised home environment and one that was, didn't have a lot of clutter in it, made day-to-day life a lot easier. And so I started to think, well, here's a service that I can offer to women that are in a similar situation to make their day-to-day life easier. And so that's how the business was born. And yes, I've been sort of operating for about 12 months now, and absolutely loving it.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I think, the best thing is that you actually know, being a corporate woman, how difficult it can be sometimes just to keep all those balls in the air, especially when we've got kids. And, I think for me, I've always found that having an organized space and decluttering actually really makes me feel a sense of being organized and being in control.
So true. That feeling of being able to relax when you know that everything's away and your space is tidy, and that's a real challenge with children.
Yes.
But definitely the less stuff you have in your house, the easier it is to achieve that.
And Lisa, why do you think that our lives have become so cluttered?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question. I think there's a couple of key factors. I think the whole digital technology piece. I mean, when we were growing up, we didn't have phones and computers, and that coupled with the whole sort of marketing, social media marketing, it is so easy to buy stuff today. And, I was definitely a victim of this. Come home from work, I just pop online, do some shopping. We are buying things at times of the day when we would never have bought stuff in the past. And I think that's just sort of fuel this behavior. We just buy more than we really need. I think then you sort of layer over the top of that the time factor. So I think, people have less time today. Well, not less time, obviously we don't have less time, but our time is consumed. And so I think we make decisions much more quickly about things that we buy. We don't always have the time to take them back if they're not right. And then I think, just go back to the social media and the marketing piece, I think we are so bombarded sort of day in, day out by all these messages of, you need this, this is to be successful, this is what you need to have. And so all of that plays, into our headspace as well. And so I think we're influenced by a lot more stuff than we actually need or often even want today.
Absolutely. And I feel sometimes there's just so much volume of things available nowadays, and we do the slick marketing and the social media that we see, we suddenly, I think we sort of just feel this desire all the time to sort of be wanting to purchase.
And that's right. And, it's all that sort of like the psychological impact, and then the physical impact of when you actually buy something, you get that dopamine hit and you feel great. But then you maybe don't feel so great afterwards when it arrives. Well, not quite what I wanted, or do I really need it? It's addictive. And, I certainly, when I look back, over my life, I know that impacted me over the years, and I was definitely addicted to buying things. And it was only when I stopped to recognize that I was able to start making some changes. But it's hard to get away from it. We're bombarded 24 hours a day by marketing, and if you're not in control of that and controlling your notifications and all these different things, it's very easy to get sucked into.
And I think it's so important that we just actually recognize the marketing for what it is, and actually sort of give ourselves a bit of the power back. And I think that's a great thing that is a part that comes out of the work that you do. And I know when I work with women, I always sort of say to them, you really want to be able to critique anything before you actually just kind of add it to your bag and check out, because it's all so easy now, that process, isn't it? Too quick and easy.
Yeah, totally. I think it's a real challenge, and I think it's actually a real challenge for most people. I think there's not that many people out there who really feel that they're in control of that, and they're not impacted. And I think it's also for our children as well, because they start with the technology so young that they're also being sucked into this. So I think picking up on that as well with them, and helping to try and teach them sort of healthy attitudes and behaviours towards buying. And certainly my kids are always, I need this, I need it. And I'm like, I don't really think you need it, but it's so hard. But definitely the first step is just recognising it.
100%.
And that that helps, because it does make you stop and go, do I actually really need this, or is it just that I'm feeling a bit tired and I need to pick me up? Or
That's right. And it's just recognise those behaviours in children and behaviours and attitudes. And you make a great point about teaching our children as well good behaviours and attitudes as well when it comes to buying. And I think obviously one of the places that's very, very easy to get cluttered is our wardrobes. And I come into contact with this a lot, as I'm sure you do, Lisa, as well. And it can seem like a really, really overwhelming task, particularly if you haven't been someone who has sort of decluttered that on a regular basis. So for anyone who does sort of feel very overwhelmed or just not sure how to tackle it, what would your advice be to someone? Like, where would you start when it comes to decluttering a wardrobe?
So I think there's a couple of things. So I normally, I would normally start off by asking, whether the person's got a good sense of the colours that suit them. Because I find that that's a really helpful tool in the actual decluttering process. So I do, like you do, I do colour consultancy with my clients. And so we sort of build that picture up front. And then, we systematically work through the wardrobe then. And what you'll tend to find is some of those things where people just feel like, I bought this and I really love it, but when I put it on, I just don't feel that great in it. And then often you'll see that correlation with the colours that perhaps aren't in that person's sort of palette. So that's really helpful. I think the other thing is to really, from a decluttering perspective, I tend to get people to tackle it by category, because you need to kind of look at how much of something you've actually got. So, we might say, right, let's do jeans. And, I'd say most women have a lot of jeans in their wardrobe, and often it could be that we've had our favourite jeans, worn them to death, we buy some new ones, but we don't want to get rid of them because they're our favourite jeans. And when you get all of those out and you look at them and you really sort of step back and say, right, well, just tell me which ones are you wearing all the time, and you put those to one side, and then you're still left with a big pile. You can really start to then challenge, well, when are you actually going to wear these? How often do you wear them? And other duplicates in terms of the colours and things. So you can start to pull out, but you can only really do that if you look at the whole category in go. And I mean, with my clients, because I'm doing it generally in quite a short period, I actually empty their whole wardrobe. And the reason that I do that is almost a little bit of a shock factor of, they're away in a different room. I get it all out and I categorize it into all the different, tops, pants, shoes. And then they come in and I'm almost wanting that shock factor of, oh, is this really all my stuff? Because when it's in your wardrobe and in your drawers, you actually lose that sense of how much stuff you've actually got.
Yep.
And it's only when you get it all out and you start to look at it, you realize actually there's a lot here. And I can't wear all of this stuff. Like, realistically, I can't wear all of that stuff in a year. And, typically you'll find that actually only 20% of it's being worn. It's that old 20% being worn 80% of the time. But yes, so I do that for, just to get the realization of there's a lot of stuff here. And then we go through the categories systematically. So that's probably my advice would be to do that.
Yeah.
And so we would do that, Carl, and then I do at the end of that process, particularly, with ladies who are not as sure about their sort of style, is I do often then recommend that they bring in a stylist to help fill gaps or to give them that extra advice about what really suits them, and building a wardrobe that reflects who they want to portray themselves as as well, which I think is really important. But you've got to get rid of that clutter and the stuff that you're not wearing. And the other thing I was just going to touch on is around, I see a lot of women who are holding on to lots of different sizes of clothes, particularly after having children, and there's sort of this hope that one day I'll get back to that size. Yeah. And, some women do, but I find that for a lot of women, keeping all of that smaller size clothing in their wardrobe, not only does it clutter up their wardrobe, but it actually makes them feel bad.
Oh, 100%. There's a huge psychological part of that, isn't there? Massive.
Absolutely. And they go in every day and they're like, I can't find anything to wear because, 50% of what's in here doesn't actually even fit me. So I always advise to take that out. And, sometimes it's take it out, send it to the charity shop. If they're really adamant that they're working towards, losing weight, then I advise them to put it outside somewhere. So whether that's, vacuum pack it and put it into storage boxes, so that they're not actually looking at it day in, day out. And then they can actually see the stuff that they can wear. And it just looks so much nicer when you open that wardrobe, and it's, you can actually see what's hanging in there, and you can start to make outfits so much.
You make such a great point there, Lisa, and I think I have seen that so many times as well when I've worked with women, that we hang on to clothes for a number of reasons. Weight is one of those ones, when we think, no, I will get back to that weight at some point. Or emotionally, it was the favorite pair of jeans, but now they're just, we've got all these memories attached to them, but now they don't work for us, and we hold on to them. But the problem is that we are holding on psychologically as well, and we need to be able to, you need to be able to cleanse that. And when it comes to the weight thing, I agree with you. If it's, maybe just a size or two difference, and there is a realistic, goal that you're going to get back there, just pop it outside of your wardrobe and come back to it at another time. But, if it's like a lot of sizes and it's causing you kind of distress every time you open your wardrobe, that's a really difficult way to start your day. And I think it really sets you off on a difficult kind of tone. So that's really, really great advice around there. And also just love that you do colours as well. I'm, yes, super passionate about colours. So if anyone's listening here and wants to know colours, get in contact with Lisa or myself. We both offer that service. And it is, you know, I sort of also really sort of categorize wardrobes according to colour as well. I think it's so,
I love that.
and I love your books, by the way, that are categorized in the background by color. I went and did that in my own bookshelf because I loved it so much. But it's a really great way to organize. But it's also just, you have to know your colors. I think you just have to. It just makes life so much easier.
And there's something about colour for me, which there's I get a real emotional response to colour. So when I look
absolutely.
at my wardrobe, I kind of have like a neutral section, but then I have like my colour section, which is my colours, and it makes me feel good when I look at it.
Gives you energy.
It does. So,
it's
powerful.
Yeah. 100%. And so, Lisa, what would be, your number one piece of decluttering advice that you can give all the ladies today?
Yeah. So my advice is just start, but start small, because I think where a lot of people fall down is, they think, right, decluttering, great idea, and they just go really hardcore into it. Try to tackle a big project like the whole of your wardrobe in one go, and they very quickly get overwhelmed by it.
Yeah.
It is a very time-consuming process. I mean, I would spend at least a day, sometimes a day and a half with my clients properly doing their wardrobe, and sometimes I have someone assisting me as well. So it's a hugely time-consuming process to do it properly. And so if you try and do it all by yourself in one go, you might find yourself failing at it and then think, I'm not going back there. So really just, if you can just pick a category. So if you look at
that's a great way to start.
One
category.
And it might be a knicker drawer, something small. And then just do that one thing, and then, you'll get that buzz then that you have ticked one off, and then that will give you the momentum to start the next thing. Whereas if you just go in head first and try and tackle something too big, you may well get derailed. Yes,
that is such great advice. Small little steps. And I think when it comes to the wardrobe, if it does feel like a massive job, just do the one category. So jeans, knickers, like you said, and that's so achievable. And then, it can be a work in progress. You don't have to do it all in one weekend or one day. You can do it over, a couple of weekends or whatever, as long as you're kind of, slowly chipping away at it.
Yeah. And then so I know you said one piece of advice, but the other thing I would say is, get a friend to help you, because I think it's so much more fun having someone else there to do it with. And even with my clients, like, they actually quite enjoy that process of having someone else. What do you think? And what, try and add a bit of like fun to it as well, because it will just be a much more enjoyable process.
Or even, you can do a swap party. So, a couple of friends all declutter, see what you want to give away, and then see if there's something, you can get from one of your friends or swap.
Yeah, amazing idea. I love that.
Yeah. Oh, Lisa, thank you so much. It was so lovely to talk to you today. You've got so much great, advice, and I think just knowledge in this area to really just help women feel, in control. And so you are based in Sydney, Lisa, but you work virtually with clients as well as in person. So My Curated Life, I'll link your website in the bottom anyway. And it was so great to catch up.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Lucy.
Thanks, Lisa.